Good evening guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Sly Geordie and welcome back to F1 23 My Team Career Mode. Here we are on the screen of who we choose to be our rival. Of course, the last two episodes have pretty much proven that we're here to stay in this championship battle. Of course, the first race we won, and the second race we did show some good pace, although the aero definitely needs some work around Jeddah, but we still were in the top 6, which is what matters. So I think the first things we got to do is like prove a point. Okay, so our rival is going to be last year's champion Max Verstappen, but here is the current driver standings after the first two races. It's looking pretty mixed, but we are not pulling ahead just yet. You know, even if we finish P2, if Leclerc or Sainz or even Verstappen finishes ahead, then we're going to lose the we're going to lose the top spot. I think even Perez, like, it's still really close, so don't let the numbers truly fool you. You know, we're not that far ahead in the championship battle, so obviously we're going to be aiming to get a win in every single Grand Prix this season. You know, that's what we're aiming for, and it's really good. It's such a big jump and leap over what happened last season, of course, since we were the newcomer to the grid. And yeah, hopefully we can end up taking our second driver along with us, Felipe Drugovich, but of course we need to do some more upgrades to the simulator side of things as well, so we'll definitely get round to that. That'll definitely be one of our main priorities this season for now. I definitely want to push Drugovich's attributes much more, but yeah, we got a couple of new parts coming in for the Australian Grand Prix, reliability testing for the energy store and cockpit weight reduction. So only one of those will truly impact our car, and that is a chassis upgrade. The last one we got, the cockpit weight reduction. So yeah, we'll see just how much quicker that makes the car. Of course, last season we did really well in Australia, so I'm hoping that ends up being the same case this time round. But with those upgrades, we have now overtaken AlphaTauri in the R&D chart, and we're actually getting pretty close to Williams as well. So it's looking pretty good in terms of the R&D chart. Of course, the last two races have proven that the grid is just so close together. This is really zoomed in, like, so we're not as far apart as it really looks. It's actually really close throughout the whole grid, which is so cool, and I hope that continues to be the case. And practice pace actually looks really good. Felipe Drugovich was P9, 9th fastest in the third practice session just before qualifying. So hopefully that's a sign of things to come. Hopefully people weren't putting half effort in or using a scrub set of softs. But yeah, Drugovich's pace is looking a lot better, at least in the practice sessions anyway. But before we get into this, we've got more upgrades to come into the car, and we're going to go with a major upgrade to the chassis. Obviously, in terms of the vehicle performance comparison, we're actually quite a bit behind, so we have some catching up to do. We're about one major part behind even Williams, so yeah, definitely getting that added. And I did put some research into the powertrain, of course. I didn't know whether or not your upgrades would remain on the car for when you changed powertrains, because I do plan to switch powertrains next season and then the season after that. So yeah, we're not sticking with Renault, but yeah, we're going to be making some powertrain upgrades throughout the season, definitely. I think at the time of recording this, I still didn't know that, but yes, I will not be ignoring the powertrain. But we're also going to be upgrading a bit on the aerodynamic side of things, and we've also got to put a little bit into durability as well. So yeah, quite a lot to do, but things are looking really good with that upgrade. You know, we're definitely well faster than AlphaTauri now, so I'm pretty sure Drugovich shouldn't have a tough time beating those AlphaTauris anymore, especially not De Vries anyway. I don't know about Tsunoda. Tsunoda's pretty highly rated in this game, so we'll have to see what happens there. But here we go, around Melbourne Albert Park for our first flying lap. in Q1. And the car feels pretty good. I went through some setups, of course, throughout practice. I ended up actually, like always, I take some off an online website and then see if that fits me, and if it doesn't, I make changes, you know, more attributed to my driving style. And that's actually what I did with this one. We've added a little bit less downforce on the wings. The one I took from the website had the downforces up high, so and it still is high. I think it's like they're both, I think it's like 36 on the front wing and 30 on the rear wing, so we're going to be really good on the corners at the very least, but when it comes to the straights, we're going to be losing a little bit. Now in terms of qualifying, I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue, because we're going to be gaining so much time on those corners that, you know, it really should not be a problem as we go across the line on the scrub set of soft tyres for our first lap of Q2. So we'll have to see how this drives, but yeah, again, the car felt really good. I'm feeling really good about this, so I think it really might even come down to the strategy and the setup, because you know I love doing the undercut whether or not I'm out in front or behind. Like, you know I love an undercut, and I think that's definitely something we're going to be doing in this race as well. So I think it's basically just going to come down to tyre strategy and what we decide to go with. And honestly, I'm feeling like I'm leaning more towards going for an aggressive strategy, simply because I mean, if you saw the last episode, Sergio Perez was absolutely unstoppable on those soft tyres, and he was the only one running on the soft tyres around Jeddah. Like, everybody else was on mediums or hards, at least you know, in the vicinity of people we were fighting with anyway. So including us, I think we started on the mediums and then went on the hards, whereas Sergio Perez was on the softs, and then I think he went to mediums. Like, he had a proper aggressive strategy. Like, being so far ahead on that first stint wasn't enough for that guy. Like, he really wanted more. But we are now crossing the line, and even though we're on a scrub set of tyres, we actually got a 118, and that was the quickest of the first stint, as we now finish up our second lap of Q2. What are we going to get? It's pole position. Pretty good. Pole position. It is Q2 though, so some people in the top 6 might be holding back, so we'll have to see what happens in Q3. But yeah, a really good start. And obviously, even though Felipe Drugovic's pace was looking really good in practice, so it wasn't just practice 3, by the way, it was also practice 1 and 2. Like, I properly kept an eye on him. I had so much hope for the guy, but he got eliminated in Q1, and it wasn't as if he just got eliminated. Like, no, he was second slowest. Like, so that does suck. I really hoped we would push him up the order. Like, Sonoda's taken that AlphaTauri really far. Like, they are the worst car on the grid now by quite a bit. But yeah, here we go for our first lap of Q3. We're going out just a little bit later, I think. We're actually not on a scrub set of tyres. We're actually on a full fresh set, because I only went out for 1 lap in Q1, as you may have noticed. So we had an extra set of tyres to go with for Q2 or 3, and I decided to save them for Q3 as we crossed the line with another 118 for P1. And now we're on our second lap, of course. Hope you guys love the transition there. That was smooth as hell. But yeah, this is it. Going to be our final lap of qualifying, and it's not looking the greatest so far. We're not gaining as much time as I would have hoped, but again, I'm used to just doing a scrub set of tyres for the first lap for Q3. This is the first time that I haven't actually done that, and that's because we're just so fast that I don't really require to use 2 laps for Q1 anymore. Like, we can literally just do it all in one. So yeah, there's that. But we're not looking too much faster, and it isn't until halfway through the track, not even that, like just over halfway through, as we pass the sector 2 line, that we're actually starting to gain some time. So maybe that's a bad sign. I don't know if that is going to impact our qualifying time compared to everybody else's, of course, but we're now gaining quite a lot of time through sector 3, so we're really vastly improving. And I think that's because we were actually side by side with Leclerc earlier, and he might have caused us to lose like a tenth or something. I don't know, but as we go down the final straight, nobody's beating our original time, but that's because they might still be on track, but we still get pole position. So there you have it, P1 in the Australian Grand Prix. That is absolutely wonderful. That's exactly what we wanted to see. Carlos Sainz lines up at P2, Leclerc P3, our rival, the reigning champion Verstappen P4, Bottas P5, Piastri P6, Perez has fallen down the order a bit, the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton has actually made it to Q3 despite Norris getting eliminated, and yeah, Russell and Ocon line up the rest of the grid.
Welcome to magnificent Melbourne in the Australian sun. This is a fantastic city and it's a fantastic and slightly revised racetrack. It's Albert Park Circuit, 3.2 miles of bumpy city streets. We have changed the turns at 1, 3, 6 and 13. They have all been widened. We've got rid of the chicane at 9 and 10. That is now a flat-out right-hander. It's a new look that made its debut in 2022. New life into an old classic. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. It's the owner-driver then in pole position. And the smooth operator, Carlos Sainz, completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Verstappen, Bottas, Oscar Piastri, Perez, Hamilton, Russell, Ocon, Gasly, Tsunoda, Magnussen, Liam Lawson, Joe, Teo Porcher, Hulkenberg, Sargent, Albon, Drugovich, De Vries, and Lando Norris starts from the back of the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. And we welcome Natalie Pinkham to the comment box once again. Nats, no weather issues to worry about. It is dry and glorious out there. Everyone can focus on the racing.
Well, the regulations aren't new anymore, but the teams and the drivers are still coming to terms with them. I firmly believe it's also track specific. We've seen some wheel-to-wheel racing throughout the year. Some tracks lend themselves better to it than others. I'd like to see it at every race in the whole season. Is that too much to ask?
Okay, we've got that relief of having points on the board finally, so let's keep that form up and get another top 10 finish today, please.
Well, here we go then. So the recommended strategy is 11 laps on the mediums and 9 laps on the hards, which I never usually go with. I always think that looks a bit lopsided, because surely wouldn't you want to go more laps on the mediums? On the hards, sorry. I don't know, but I felt really good on the softs, and I think we're just going to continue to be on the softs. And I think we're going to go for 8 laps. I don't want to go on them too long. And then we're going to go to the mediums. I want an aggressive strategy just like Perez did at Jeddah. Of course, we're going to put the fuel lower as well. So, yeah, a pretty aggressive strategy. Will it come back to haunt us? I don't know. Everybody else seems to be on mediums in this top 5 and maybe even the top 6. Piastri is in P6, of course. McLaren, definitely a team to keep an eye on. Obviously, since that patch, they got a big boost. Verstappen's there, of course. Perez won't be too far behind either. I think he's in P7. I don't think we need to worry about anyone past that, though. So it's not a top 6 on the grid anymore like it used to be. Like, it's a proper top 7 now. And it wasn't like that last season. Of course, we were regularly on that 7th place by the end of the races, because obviously the top 6 were Ferrari, Mercedes and Red Bull, but now it's changed a bit as McLaren have joined up here and Mercedes have dipped a little bit as in a lot. So yeah, let's see how this race goes as we come up to 5 red lights, and it's lights out and away we go. And it's a pretty mid getaway from us, if I do say so myself. I remember I did have a little bit of delay on the starting there, as the red lights going out caught me a little off guard, but that could be made up for right away with how much grip we're going to have in these first few laps on these softs. Of course, this is a proper fresh set of soft tyres, because we still had an extra set to use after qualifying. So yeah, we've already pulled almost a second ahead of Leclerc, who's overtaken Sainz, of course. Verstappen and Bottas have retained their positions. And yeah, it's pretty much the same there. I think I actually see a green there just behind Piastri on the map. So I think George Russell's actually had a really good start. Hopefully he can push himself up the order a little bit. He's been a bit unlucky these last couple of races. So let's see what happens there. But Charles Leclerc actually caught me off guard there. And I think that's a sign of things to come. Like, they're definitely faster on the straights, just like, well, not the straights, but the high speed corners, especially the one from this new layout of Albert Park, of course. So yeah, we might struggle quite a bit. So we're going to have to make up as much time as possible on these corners. Otherwise, we're going to be in quite a bit of trouble. But we do set the fastest lap for the first lap, which is to be expected, of course. But as we skip ahead a couple of laps to lap 4, Leclerc has the fastest time now. So now we are going to struggle. Now, I think that's down to him having DRS as well, which again is why we're going to struggle as well. We've used a lot of ERS to remain in front as long as we can, so we're definitely going to have to do some ERS upgrades for sure to make sure that lasts a bit longer and recharges a bit faster. But for now, we are still ahead. But it's really like we're really on our last legs now in terms of these soft tyres, and we need to go till lap 8. We need to go like another 3 laps before we can you know, switch to the mediums. And yeah, honestly, we're kind of on the ropes with Leclerc basically up our rear view mirror. Like, look how close he is there, and now he's going to go down the inside. It's a beautiful move. We've actually cut off Sainz a little bit there as he goes down the inside. Obviously we're going to shut the door on him. And yeah, we are now down a position. We're in P2, and it doesn't look like we're going to catch up to Leclerc anytime soon. The mediums are starting to come true, and yeah, definitely right as I say that. We've gone onto the grass a little bit there, and Leclerc is now starting to shoot off into the distance. So maybe starting on these softs weren't the best idea. Maybe having the softs at all wasn't the greatest idea. I don't know. Maybe we should have gone mediums to hards. Of course, again, we're going to have to see how our second stint goes. But of course, we've now skipped ahead to lap 8. This is going to be our pit lap. And we're going to want to push. We're going to want to get as close to Leclerc as possible. But we're going to have a bit of trouble doing that as Sainz is once again pressuring us. We're managing to keep to the racing line as much as possible. We've got the inside. We're still ahead of Sainz. But honestly, for how much longer? We are at this point delaying the inevitable on these soft tyres. And it's not looking good for us. It's not looking good, but we are starting to catch up to Leclerc just a little bit with that ERS. We've got DRS as well, so this is exactly what we need. We want to just stay as close to Leclerc as possible. We're going to get an undercut on these guys, of course, so we'll see how our pace on the mediums is looking. But yeah, around those corners, definitely starting to get a bit stiff, and yeah, for sure, it's time to pit. Maybe we should have pitted the lap before, onto hards, maybe. I don't know. We'd have to see how the mediums are going to go as we now come into the pits. Hopefully our pit crew does pretty well here. I've not had to really upgrade them too much. Yes, our stop time is not as quick as the others, but we're pretty consistently like 2.4 seconds, which again is slower than the rest, but with our undercut we really make up that almost half a second quite quickly. So I'm not too worried about that, and I don't think we'll have to really upgrade that too often, unless we've got money to throw. But yes, later on as we come out of the pits, we are now looking to make some overtakes on the back markers here. Nick de Vries is the first to bat, of course, in the AlphaTauri, now officially the slowest on the grid, as if he wasn't anyway in real life. Sorry, I actually like Nick de Vries. I think he was a little in over his head though, but that was a beautiful overtake down the inside. So yeah, that was wonderful. And now we're closing to our teammate and the American rookie Logan Sargent. A very aggressive overtake there, actually slowing him down a bit, so that does gain Drugovich some time. And again, I want to fully emphasize the fact that we should be able to decide our teammate's strategy. Come on, Codemasters. We've been asking for this for years. my teammate is going to be shooting himself in the foot every single race, regardless of his pace, just because of how long he decides to stay out. And I don't want him to stay out that long. I want him to do undercuts, bro. I want to decide his strategy because I know how to make him faster. But whatever. We now skip ahead to lap 13. We're in P1. So we've actually done the undercut on Leclerc. Leclerc's not actually had a very good in-lap. He's actually lost not only a position to Sainz, but he's also lost a position to Verstappen, and he's now under pressure from Checo. So, yeah. And as for us, these mediums are going to start slowing down pretty soon, and so we're going to want to make up as much time as possible. And it's not until lap 17 that these mediums are now starting to go off. And I mean, take a close look at that leaderboard and watch how much time Sainz actually manages to pull on us. And this is the guy who's directly behind us in the championship. If anybody is going to beat us in this race and score more points, I don't want it to be Sainz right now. Like, if we want to keep top spot, and it's that man right there, Sainz. He's actually pulled to under a second. We're actually just over a second, but for a second there, but like, no, that didn't last long. And yeah, these tyres are now starting to go off. Lap 17, we've got 4 laps to go. Well, technically 3 now, and Sainz is under a second. So now he's going to get DRS, and we skip just a lap later, and now Sainz is going going around the outside. We are going to dive the inside to try and retain the position, well, get the position back, which works. A little bit aggressive, banging tyres a bit there, but our objective now is to try and slow down Sainz, I suppose, to try and push him back into Verstappen. But this isn't like Jeddah, where we could properly slow someone down by being aggressive like we did with Leclerc last race in Jeddah. Australia isn't like that. There's too much space for us to be able to do that, and there's too many DRS zones. Of course, with this one and the one leading up to the finish line, it's fine, we can defend that. But it's the other one on the high speed left-hander, that's the one I'm worried about, because they could really catch up to us there, as you've seen throughout this race, and we've had to already get really aggressive with the defending. And I mean, look how much time he is gaining on us without the DRS zone. Oh my days. Of course, we're saving ERS, but we might have to use it right now just to try and stay ahead of Sainz, which we are trying to, but Sainz is going to rocket past us with DRS, of course, and quite frankly, it's too little, too late. And I think at this point, we have just fully lost the position to Carlos Sainz. There is absolutely no way we're catching up to him. He's getting even more DRS down this one. So, yeah, he's actually pulled to over half a second as we try to reel him back in, but it's just not going to happen. He's gaining too much time on these corners. We have too much understeer, and yeah, it's pretty much over. We're going to try, though. We're going to try. Even though I doubt it's going to happen. But who knows? Sainz might make a mistake. Of course, Hamilton made the mistake in Abu Dhabi, if you remember, in Season 1. So maybe, just maybe, we can cling on to how close we are to Sainz right now, and maybe he'll lock up on a corner and we can overtake him. So here we go. Last lap of the Grand Prix, trying desperately to keep up with Sainz, but he's probably got more ERS as well. He's not even reserving it. There's no lights flashing, and our car would be. So, of course, not only have we got to catch up to Sainz, but we've got the 2 Red Bulls behind us as well. And I really don't want to lose to Verstappen, because that's part of a rivalry. That's going to fully impact the acclaim. So we're definitely losing top spot in the championship to Sainz. And Sergio Perez, what a recovery drive for him to get back into the podium places, as he's now really close to us, and we're just wringing the neck of this car just to get it round these corners. But we have no ERS left, and we barely had enough DRS, as Sergio Perez has now made the overtake on us. Here, he's stolen P2 on the last few corners, but we're not going to give up. Oh my god, it's a audacious dive down the inside, and somehow we didn't take Perez off track. That was a legal overtake, and we have taken back P2. But it's disappointing, because surely surely we could have won that race had we gone mediums to hards. It was a wrong strategy all round, and quite frankly, we were lucky to even get second. We deserved P3. So, yeah, we've really got to watch what we're doing in terms of strategies now, especially since it actually matters in terms of the championship.
Natalie, fill us in. What was it that helped the team achieve their success today?
Well, confidence breeds confidence. Success breeds success. They are very much enjoying a purple patch right now.
And here we are, a team that is no stranger to the podium, taking their place on top once again. A sublime race today and a stunning win for Ferrari.
Well, Carlos Sainz wins the Australian Grand Prix, overtaking us on the last couple of laps, and quite frankly, it's our own fault, and Sainz has taken over the lead of the championship. Of course, we'll still be in P2, but of all people to beat us in this race, we wouldn't have wanted it to be the man who was actually right behind us in the standings. So, yeah, Sainz beats us just like he did in Jeddah, of course, and yeah, we really got to properly think about our strategies next time. We went for a proper aggressive one, and quite frankly, after we started falling a little bit on the softs on that first stint, we maybe should have switched our idea. I think if we'd have switched to the hards instead of the mediums, we would have won this race. We would have had enough pace, especially towards the end when they really started pulling on us, to actually win the race, which definitely sucks. But next time out, I'm properly excited for it. The Chinese Grand Prix returns, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my god. Never done it on the channel before, of course. It's, you know, returned to the calendar on our little 16 race one. So we've added it in, of course, alongside Portugal. Portugal will be there as well. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And obviously, we're going to be aiming for a win. But yeah, guys, that does it for today's episode of F1 23 My Team Career. If you guys liked it, be sure to hit that like button as hard as you possibly can. Comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see you all in the next video, and it will be the last one we do on the PlayStation 4 most likely as well, or maybe I want to do Baku as well. I don't know. Still got a lot of things to wrap up in terms of the videos I'm yet to properly finish and edit on the PlayStation 4, so I can't use my PS5 until I've done all that, because it's all in my capture gallery on the PS4 and there's nothing I can really do about it. So yeah, definitely getting around to that this month though. So yeah, I think we'll definitely do the Chinese Grand Prix, and then I maybe might save Baku for when we use the PS5. Like, full steam ahead is on that video that I want to get finished for this month now. So, yeah, cheers for watching, guys. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.